When connecting pieces of PowerFlex busway together, make certain that all contact surfaces are clean and free from contaminants. To begin the joint installation, first align the left end of one section with the right end of the adjoining section. Make sure that the F-labels are aligned. One end will have a power bridge joint installed, and the other end will be a conductor end. Next, slide the conductor end into the joint end. To avoid insulator damage, ensure that the phase conductors are properly seated within the power bridge joint. Slide the joint end into the power bridge joint until there is 3 1/2 inches from the edge of housing to the center of the torque bolt. In order to match the nominal dimensions shown on the customer layout drawing, the distance from the edge of each housing should measure 7 inches. After both sections of busway are installed into the bridge joint, the joint covers may be installed. Joint covers prevent incidental contact with energized conductors and connect a portion of the housing ground path between two sections of busway. Before installation of the joint covers, it's important to note that in order to maintain proper access to the torque bolt, the distance from the center of the bolt to the edge of the housing must be the same on both sides of the power bridge joint. It must remain centered in the assembly. To begin installation, first attach the rear joint cover to the busway, with the flanged head hex bolts provided, to the end blocks located at the end of the busway housing. Only install the bolts closest to the rear joint cover at this time. The front or single hole joint cover overlaps or sits on top of the rear or double hole cover on both sides of the busway. Make sure that the contact surfaces of the end blocks and the inner side of the joint covers are clean to ensure a ground path through the joint covers. After the front cover is in place, install the remaining cover flanged head hex bolts. Securely tighten all hardware to the joint covers. When the two sections have been properly joined together, the joint bolt must be tightened. This joint bolt is a smart bolt, a special torque indicating bolt with a collar indicating window on the bolt head. The collar window on the top of the bolt head changes from red in a loose state to black in a tightened state. The collar changes as torque is applied to the head. A standard socket wrench with a minimum 14-inch handle should be used to tighten the joint bolt. To verify that the proper torque has been achieved, use the included collar indicating card. Power bridge joints can be adjusted 1 inch in either direction. When adjustment of the joint is required, first loosen the joint cover bolts and torque bolt. Next, adjust the pieces in or out as required. The maximum distance between bus housings is 7 1/2 inches, and the minimum is 6 1/2 inches. This allows a full 1-inch adjustment capability at each joint. Remember that the torque bolt must remain centered between the busway housings in order to have proper access for tightening and maintenance. You have successfully performed a joint installation of two sections of Eaton Corporation's PowerFlex busway.